Hey everyone, COE33 here. Happy New Year's. Hope everyone's doing well. It's 2023, can you believe it? Which means it's time for the annual full game room tour. Oh boy. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take my time. We're going to go through both the upstairs and the downstairs game room in full detail. We might, play a little pinball, check out the game collection, every little nook and cranny of my upstairs and downstairs game room, and take a look at the changes that I've made over the years and over this last year in particular. So grab some popcorn. I think this should be a good time. And let's see, where should we start? Okay, why don't we start over here with the virtual pinball machine? I think this is a great place to start. So, oh gosh, how long have I had this virtual pinball machine? 3 years? Has it been that long? Yeah, probably. And I think out of all the items I have in my collection, guys, this virtual pinball machine is my favorite. So I've got 100 of my favorite pinball tables on here right now. Tales of the Crypt is showing there, and it cycles through the different games in the tracked mode. And this was from Rec Room Masters, which I believe they went out of business, which was a shame because they sold these kits, and then you had the option to create custom graphics, and that's what I did. I love Jurassic Park, so I created those custom Jurassic Park graphics, and I'm really happy with the way they turned out. And then, of course, you got the buttons up front here for launching the ball and for cycling through the menu and everything. And then I've got a 4K Samsung TV. I think it's a 40-inch for the playfield. And then I've got a 1080p HP monitor up here for the back glass. And then I have a color DMD for, of course, for the DMD. And then to fit kind of the Jurassic Park theme, I've got the Jurassic Park topper up there. And guys, it looks great. It plays great. It's a lot of fun. Super happy with it. I've got a little small form factor PC in there. It's a Ryzen. I forget the processors in there. It's got a 1080 Ti. At the time when I built this, it was it was a good high spec little small form factor PC, and it's plenty powerful enough to play some pinball. And let's see, to cycle through some of the games. Okay, X-Files. Let's see. Oh, wrong button. Let's see. Oh yeah, flippers. X-Files, AC/DC. I'm not going to go through all of them. Bad Cats. That was one of my favorites. I love Bad Cats. I wonder if I could do this one-handed. And I've got all set up. I'm using Pinball X as the front end. And setting all this up was quite the project. I mean, it took me, I don't know, probably like a week of just like long hours of setting every table up exactly the way I wanted it and everything. But in the end, totally worth it. I've got all the instructions and everything set up for each game. So here, let's scroll up here, and you got the different instructions for each game, and then like there's flyers and stuff like that. And let's see, let's go. What else do we got? Information. Like if you want to look at the flyer, you can see the original artwork that came with the pinball machine. Super cool. And look at that, pinball perfection. I love that. That's super cool. And then you can of course play the game, and then it loads up, and including in the back glass, you can see me there. Hello. And I've got a subwoofer in here, stereo sound. I mean, this thing thumps. If you turn it up, I mean, it's got some good bass to it. And just look how nice this playfield looks. I mean, I don't think it does it justice on camera, but it looks like you're actually playing a pinball table. I mean, the effect is super convincing. I mean, look how good that looks. And of course, you can throw in a quarter and play a little pinball. Now I'm one-handed here, so this is not going to be some impressive pinball. I can only do my right hand, right flipper. Oh, we lucked out. Oh, no, we didn't. But you guys get the idea. And of course, you can cycle through different games. You exit out of there. It does get like dust on the inside of the plexi here. So what I did, and if you guys have a virtual pinball machine, this might be a good little tip for you guys. There's these aquarium magnets here, and there's a little like felt pads on each side of these, and I use this so I don't have to take off the glass each time. I just run this on the glass, and it does great. It doesn't scratch it. It gets rid of all the dust. And then I have one up here as well, these little mini aquarium magnets, because in particular this back glass, to take this off is a real pain in the butt. I got to move the pinball machine out and I gotta like remove some of the internals and stuff. It's a nightmare. So that's why I did that. And having the DMD, I mean, it's worth it. If you're on the fence, if you're doing a project, a pinball, virtual pinball project, and you're on the fence about the DMD, I say go for it. It's worth it in the long run. It really adds to the whole effect. I just love it. And then a few more Batman. That's another fave. Battlestar Galactica, Big Buck Hunter, Black Hole, awesome table from back in the day. Black Knight 2000, Black Pearl. This is super cool. Or Black Rose, excuse me. Super cool, pirate themed. Dracula. This was a custom Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. Someone put this together, so this was not like an officially released table, but it's pretty fun. Bugs Bunny birthday ball. I like the old school pinball, the EM machines. So I've got probably, I don't know, like 5, maybe 6 old school like 60s EM machines. Cartoons. That's another custom table. Centaur, really super fun. Look at the artwork on that. How cool is that? I love that. Another old EM machine. This one's a lot of fun. This is actually one of my favorite EM machines. Centigrade 37. Champion Pub, great table. Circus Voltaire, amazing. Congo. I just went through and it's like my favorite tables. I didn't want too many tables on here because then it becomes overwhelming. Demolition Man, I love that movie, and the table's a lot of fun. This is another custom. I'm a big custom table. I'm a big fan of Diablo 3. So when I saw that this was an option, I was like, yep, gotta have that. Diner, of course. Dirty Harry, super cool. Another old EM machine, Dolly Parton. Dr. Dude. Elvis. Embryon. Evil Knievel. Farfalla. I put that one on for Leaf because I thought she would enjoy it because I had fairies and stuff. Fathom. Probably one of my favorite early 80s tables. I mean, that's 1981. I love the theming and the color palette here. Super cool. Fire. I said I wasn't going to go through all of them, but now I'm kind of enjoying looking at all of them. Fire. Fireball 2. I have a Fireball 1 in the garage. Flash Gordon. Funhouse. Gargamel Park. This is another custom one. Smurfs theming. Genesis. Super cool. Ghostbusters Slimer is a more modern table. Gilligan's Island, another custom one, little Star Wars action. Haunted House, so cool. It's got the 2 play fields. Actually, 3 because you can go down into the basement too. So you can go up there into the little haunted house area, and then you can go down there into the basement. Love it. This would be another one that would be really fun to have in real life. High Diver, awesome EM machine. High Speed. Yeah, this is a cool table. I really like the way this plays. That's actually one that I put a lot of time into. I enjoy it quite a bit. Hook, Hot Shot, Humpty Dumpty, Hurricane, Indiana Jones, Jungle King, Junkyard. Of course, Jurassic Park. Can't have a Jurassic Park table without having Jurassic Park. I think I'll leave it on there for now. So yeah, super cool. Okay, virtual pinball machine. Okay, moving over here, guys. So the kind of one big project that I did this year upstairs in the upstairs game room, the retro room, which is what I like to consider this upstairs game room. So this is where all the like cart-based stuff for the most part lives. The the vinyl, the Atari 2600 collection is over here, and downstairs in the Dragon's Lair, that's where the more modern stuff is. But the one kind of big project I did this year was creating this little scale arcade. So I wanted it to be, I really like these numbskull quarter arcades, and I wanted to pick some up. So I picked up 3 of them: Galaga, Miss Pac-Man, and Dig Dug, and I'll turn them on in a second. But I didn't want to just throw them up in this little nook. I wanted to create a little scene. So I have the brick background, the tilt sign there, the change machine, and the little custom lighting. So let's get the full effect here. So I got these little lights. We'll go blue. Just like so, okay? And then of course the change machine. You can already see the blue lights really kind of make that artwork pop there. And then you know how in the arcades back in the day, like at Tilt, they had this the carpeting that usually looked like, it could be like just funny swirls and different patterns, or it could be like space themed. So I got a large extended mouse pad, and that kind of simulates the carpet. And then I have the different machines, and let's see if I can reach back here and turn these on, because these numbskull machines are super cool. There's one, and I'm gonna reach back here and turn this one on. And these are battery powered, So I've got a little charger. Actually, the change machine right there is a USB charger. So I just plug in that change machine, and then I can plug in all 3 of these Numbskull arcades into that. And then up here I have this little shelf, and I put the shelf there to kind of cover the seam from the brick wallpaper, and then to add a little shelf for some of my little mini arcades I have here. And then I put some of my Atari 2600 carts there just because I thought they looked good. And then they have that arcade sign, and then this little clock up here. And then up top, I've got a blue light bulb right there. So moving down to the actual arcade machines, as you can see, these are all like true to the arcade, like arcade perfect emulation. And of course, Galaga is a classic, Miss Pac-Man, and Dig Dug. And these play really good in my opinion. I actually like coming up here and playing these. Now to put a quarter in, you push a little button right here, and that puts a quarter in, and then you press start, and then you're playing Galaga. And you know, it's tiny, but it works. I'm doing this one-handed, but you know, you get the idea. So super cool, love it. And I think, what's my favorite? I don't know, actually I like all 3 of them. I don't think I can pick a favorite. And yeah, okay, so that was the big project this year. And then I have the Galaga stool. This is Arcade 1-Up Galaga stool. And I thought that would be perfect for this little nook. So, you know, you have some friends over here and you playing pinball. People can be playing over here on the little miniature arcade, or they can come over here and they could play on the modded Mortal Kombat 2 Arcade 1-Up. Okay, so this is was a standard Mortal Kombat 2 Arcade 1-Up. And then I threw a Raspberry Pi in there. I have this custom topper. I put it on a riser with a custom LED front there. I've got the Mortal Kombat stool. I threw a subwoofer in there, so this thing bumps as well, just like the pinball machine. And I've got it on a track mode right now, so it cycles through all the different games. And yeah, you can play whatever you want on here. Anything up to like, I mean, the PS1 era is kind of when this thing starts crapping out. It's a Raspberry Pi 3, so you can play a few of the PS1 and Dreamcast games. But for the most part, it's for, you know, the retro stuff. It's for the NES, the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, the TurboGrafx, MAME, stuff like that. And super cool, a lot of fun. I put the LED buttons here and everything, and yeah, it works great. And I like it a lot, and I think it fits this little nook well. And on these 2 nooks, both for the pinball machine and for the arcade cabinet, I have this like a brick background that I have kind of like in a Tetris pattern almost. I cut all that out and put it up on the wall, and it's subtle, but I thought it looked good. Kind of gave it that, I don't know, that retro arcade look. I think it turned out pretty good. It might have been, you know, I went back and forth. The red brick would have been the way to go, and maybe it would have. I think the white was a little more understated than I probably would have hoped for initially, but it turned out, so I'm happy with it. And I'm not taking it off of there because it's got industrial strength adhesive and it's not going anywhere. And then to kind of fit with the Mortal Kombat theme here, I have, you know, you got Mortal Kombat and then you got Street Fighter. So, you know, they were kind of hand in hand back in the day. This is actually a Street Fighter movie poster, and it is signed by Jean-Claude Van Damme right there. And you can see him there signing the poster and the certificate of authenticity. I got that framed locally. I just love it right there. Super cool piece. I'm a big fan of like 80s and 90s action movies and action stars. So Arnold and Sylvester Stallone and Jean-Claude and Steven Seagal and Bruce Willis and people like that. So having a signed little movie poster from Jean-Claude is super cool. And I like the fact that we got the Street Fighter and the Mortal Kombat representation going on there in that corner. Moving over here, we got Pink Floyd sign that my youngest brother got for me because he knows I'm a big fan of Pink Floyd, and I've got a lot of their vinyl records. So I thought that would be a good spot to hang that up. Really nice piece there. And then this is a like old school bank. So, you know, you put your quarters in there and it works. It's made out of like a cast metal or something. Cast iron. It's kind of heavy. And yeah, it's fun. I like those old school banks. And I thought that would be a perfect spot for it right next to my not pinball machine, my slot machine. Skill Stop. There we go. And of course I have my chai tea. So I have a little caffeine while filming this video for you guys. All right, moving down here, I've got my NES and my Super Nintendo. And then Now I have another Super Nintendo or another NES downstairs in the Dragon's Lair that's customized, but this is the one that I picked up at like Value Village, I think, back in the day, for like $10 or something like that. It was a pretty good score and it works great. I switched out the 72 pin connector on it so that it works like a champ, and I'll actually be using that a lot this month because as the January console of the month, it is, well, I guess I'll reveal it now. I'm going to do a video about this, but you guys are going to get the little scoop right now. The January console of the month is the NES. It's going to be a toast to the toaster because New Year, a toast to the toaster. NES January in full effect. So I will be playing NES on Twitch, live streaming NES games all month. And then here on YouTube, we'll be collecting NES, talking about NES. And should be super fun. And then I have another collecting goal as well. I'll talk about later when we get over to that shelf. But then there's a Super Nintendo. I have a fire extinguisher there because, you know, you got old retro electronics and you never know. Better safe than sorry, right? And then I've got my Game Boy. So growing up, I had this exact Game Boy case. And this is Cammy, by the way. Hello, Cammy. What you doing? Hey, kitty. So I had this exact Game Boy case I used to carry around everywhere with me. And then one year at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, I saw this. I'm like, oh yeah, I have to have that. I'm going to switch hands here and see if I can open this with one hand. Can I get this? Easier said than done, huh? Let's see. This thing tends to stick. You got to really push it in. There we go. Okay. And then you open this up, and boom, this is exactly how I had it as a kid. So of course my Game Boy, now this Game Boy actually needs a little love. The little screen is coming loose, so I need to glue that back on. And it's got a capacitor issue, so I'm either gonna fix this at some point or buy another one. But you know, you got your spot for batteries and little Game Boy camera there. And then like all the games that I had as a kid, I went ahead and put in the setup. So I've got, you know, the Super Mario. And what do we got here? More Super Mario, of course. And a little Dr. Mario. One of my go-to games as a kid, Kirby's Dream Land. I used to love playing that. And then it's so cool playing, like looking at these. I need to play some of these. There should be a Game Boy month on the channel here before too long because I really like playing Game Boy games. Kirby's Pinball Land, another favorite. I used to love that game. And then we got Kirby's Star, or was it Star Stacker? Yeah, you know what? I don't really have much experience playing this one. Honestly, I don't know why that's in there. Maybe just to keep it with the Kirby's. Another one that I used to play a lot, Ninja Turtles: Fall of the Foot Clan. This was a go-to game back in the day. And what do we got? Oh yeah, more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, of course. And then just a whole bunch of other games. All the games I used to love playing as a kid, as I said. And for now, I'm just going to put these right here, and I'll come back to this when I'm not filming a video for you guys. So I'm kind of doing this like all in more or less one take. There's not going to be a lot of editing here. I like it to be kind of just a natural kind of representation of the game rooms without a lot of fancy editing or anything like that. So yeah, I'm just taking you along for the journey. Okay, so here is my Sega Master System. Now, I did not have a Sega Master System as a kid, even though I'm a massive Sega fanboy. That was a console that I didn't have. I'm glad to have one in the collection now, and I do really enjoy playing it. It's a great system. And then I have some of my box stuff in here. What do we got here? We got my Wii, got some of the box 3DO games, some like accessory stuff, my boxed PlayStation, some AV cables, stuff like that, some box protectors and things like that. And then here I have some of my boxed Sega stuff. I got my arcade stick, my 32X, my core console, Model 1 Genesis down there. I think back there is a AV cable for the Genesis, stuff like that. This is, you know, pretty cool little drawer here because I love anything Sega and have these boxed consoles and controllers and stuff. Super cool. I love it. And over here is my poker set. I used to love playing. Well, not used to. I still love playing. I just don't play as much as I used to. I used to play Texas Hold'em, gosh, constantly. Online and stuff. I used to love playing. I even would go to local tournaments and things. There was like a Texas Hold'em fad there for a long time, and I got swept up into it. Now, I still love the game. I think it's a great game. And I would like to get back into playing a lot because I was, reading books on it and learning about it and trying to get real good at poker. And I feel like I did pretty good. I actually placed pretty well in a few tournaments and super proud of that. It was a lot of fun. So this is, poker chips and the dealer button and stuff like that. So yeah, it's poker. I like this little set. It's nothing crazy, but it's nice. It's heavy too. Okay, moving up here, guys, to the Skill Stop slot machine. Okay, so I picked this up on Craigslist, gosh, a long time ago. I've had this thing for ages, and it was cheap. I think I paid $100 for it, and it works great. I mean, it's worked like a champ for all these years. You put in the tokens, and it makes crazy noises, and it, pays out the tokens and stuff like that, and it's got the Las Vegas theming. And then I have this Welcome to Las Vegas sign up top there. It's kind of hard to see. The LEDs are washing out a little bit. But yeah, should we fire this up? Yeah, why not? Okay. Here we go. We're firing up a slot machine. So there's a little key right there. And you pop in the key. Boom. You open up the door. See if we can do this without too much hassle, huh? If not, I'll just move on. And here's the inside, if anyone's curious what the inside of a Skill Stop slot machine looks like. You got the hopper and the reels, and it's a little dusty in here, but that's to be expected. And then, let's see, you turn the key, you turn the key right, you turn it on, and then I think you turn the key left. Let's see, did I do that right? Yeah, I think I did. Okay, and then you take your tokens. Nope, I didn't do it right. Shocker. Okay. Let's try it again. Okay, so we open this up. There we go. And then turn it off. Whoop. Turn it on. Turn the key. There we go. All right. Okay, put the tokens in. Yeah, there we go. Okay, and then we're going to do max bet, and you pull down on this little plunger, and then with the skill stop, you actually have to stop the reels. So 1, 2, 3, and we didn't win anything there. Let's try it again, huh? Let's see if we can get some a little win. Okay, pull down on the plunger. 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, almost. Third time's a charm. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, man. Okay. Well, you get the idea. That is the Skill Stop slot machine. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off because it's kind of noisy. And it produces a little background hum that I don't think anyone wants to listen to. I know I don't. You are listening to the background sounds of the arcade machine, but I thought that would be alright. Hopefully that's not too distracting. Maybe I should turn that down just a little bit, huh? Here. I'll turn that down just a little. What's this, open season? There we go. Okay. So moving over here, guys. Now this is like the retro lounge. That's what I like to consider. So this is like, take yourself back to the 1970s. You've got your big old Papasan chair. You've got your Atari 2600 games, and you got your CRT television with a lava lamp. What? And that's my little kind of retro lounge. And it's a comfy little spot. I like hanging out up here, sitting in the Papasan, firing up the CRT, and playing some old school Atari. And I don't have the CRT going right now because sometimes it produces a little CRT whine. And you guys have commented in the past that when I have the CRTs on, you can hear that in the background, and yeah, that's kind of annoying. So I'm keeping the CRTs off in this video, but you know what they look like. They're super cool. CRTs are the best. So I've got some records here. I've got Streets of Rage 2, super cool. I've got Revenge of Shinobi, of course, representing my favorite 16-bit composer, Yuzo Koshiro. And then up here, a little Shenmue action, because I love me some Shenmue on the Sega Dreamcast. These are cool. I don't really listen to them that much because they're kind of collectible, and I don't want to damage the vinyl. But I do listen to these soundtracks, these OSTs on Spotify quite a bit. In particular, Revenge of Shinobi. That's one of my favorites. And Streets of Rage 2. Super cool. And then I've got this little colorful light here. And yeah, that's a nice little Papa Sun chair. Why don't we take a seat, huh? All right, let's have a nice little seat. Oh yeah, very cool. Let's put our feet up there. Okay. Look at this. Life is good. We're hanging out in the retro room, playing a little pinball, a little arcade action. We got the CRT with Atari games. Look at that beautiful shelf of Atari games. Now, I love collecting for Atari 2600. I feel like the Atari 2600 doesn't get enough love, and I don't know why that is. I know it's like these days it's super retro, but it's all about the gameplay, not the graphics, in my opinion at least. And I remember, I think when it, like I look back to, because I always have a different console each month, and each month I'm talking about and collecting and playing a different console. When I look back at the months and which ones were my favorite, honestly, one of my favorite months was the Atari 2600 month. I played almost every single Atari 2600 game I have in the collection. I streamed it on Twitch, and it was so fun. I mean, it was really great. Now, there's short little games, so like I was able to play like 10 games in one stream, so that's why I was able to get through all the games. But yeah, I'm not going to go through everything I have here, but let's see. There's some highlights here. What do we got? One of my favorite games on the Atari 2600 is right there in the middle, Beam Rider. I mean, that might be my favorite Atari 2600 game. So not only is it kind of a collectible little game, it's amazing. It's so good. And then I've got up top there, kind of towards the middle in the box, I have the PRG 10th anniversary Atari 2600 homebrew. That's super cool. I've got some of my box stuff. I've got the Halo 2600 game. That's super cool. Haunted House, of course. That Atari 3D printed sign. A complete in box wall ball, which is actually pretty rare in that condition. And then the Atari 2600 Junior there. I've got my 4-switch over there. And then I've got a Retron 3 so that I can play NES, Super Nintendo, and Genesis on the CRT if I wanted to. Generally, I play those consoles downstairs on the Sony Trinitron, though. And there's Miguel coming to say hi. What's up, Miguel? Oh, what's up, buddy? You're excited? Come on. Yes. Oh, jeez. Okay, you're just stealing the show now, aren't you? So, Miguel is the newest addition to the family, and he's super cool. He's a great dog, and he's out of focus now. There we go. Hey, bud. And so far, he has not eaten any video games, so that's good. And I've got some board games here. Everything from like classics like Monopoly and Life and stuff like that to kind of some different kind of cool stuff like Myst. And then we got the $25,000 Pyramid and a whole bunch of stuff. I mean, they're jam-packed in there. And then I actually put felt in the middle of this table here so that we could play board games. And then I've got this really cool globe. This is the anniversary present. And it's super cool. So it's basically each little inlay here is a different gem from around the world. So it's beautiful. I mean, what a nice piece here. Look at all those gemstones. I just love that. So that's a globe with lots of cool different gems inlaid there. And then moving over here, we got the popcorn machine because you gotta have a little hot popcorn. Now, granted, I don't actually use the popcorn machine that often, but when I do, on the rare occasion, it makes some pretty amazing popcorn. And I've got the little popcorn buckets and stuff there in the bags. And then it's sitting on this kind of a old school chest here, this red chest. And I'm not going to get into that, but as a young lad, I thought that I wanted to be a professional magician. So I have tons of magic props and stuff in there. I've got books and props, and that thing is jam-packed with all my magic stuff from when I was a kid. And then up here we got, this is a Spanish surrealist, Miró, and I've always enjoyed her artwork. And then over here, of course, gumball machine, because you got to have the popcorn. If you're going to have a popcorn machine, well, you got to have a candy dispenser, right? So that's the gumball machine. That's one of those old school ones, and it even has the base and everything. And it's, it's heavy duty. It's the cast iron one. That's the one, the good one. And then now I've got these curtains here. Over here, I have them open because I'm not worried about like anything. Like the Atari games are there for a reason, so they don't get sun faded. They're blocked from the sun. Over here, I have the drapes kind of closed for the most part, just shields some of the light. Now, some of you have mentioned, aren't you worried about sun fade and stuff like that? Not really. We don't get a lot of sun through that window. I have it kind of shaded with those curtains. I know it's not completely, I get that. But yeah, they're really, like, the way I have my shelves, they're really not going to get sun faded. They don't get enough direct sun, if any. Like, direct sunlight doesn't really hit these shelves. So I'm not too worried about that. So I know, because usually every time I do one of these tours, people says, oh my God, you're going to get sun fade. And I don't foresee it being a problem. There's just not the direct sunlight to have that happen. So over here, I've got this kind of Chinese cabinet looking thing that I got a long time ago. I used to sell furniture as a teenager. And I worked at this furniture store, and that was like, came in kind of busted. So I got a good deal on it, and I fixed it up. And then I've got my little pewter, little trebuchet, little catapult there. And then the Think Geek Infinite Mirror. Let's see, the battery's good on this. Oh, look at that. Boom. So, super cool. Look at that. And then I've got this little World of Warcraft guy. And Cammy, our kitty, keeps knocking his helmet off. I don't know what happened to it. It's missing. So, you can blame Cammy for that. And then over here, I've got the little sarcophagus. And that's another thing I got when I was selling furniture. And then we have the Hall of Video Games. So this is kind of the main show up here, at least. This is, 10 years of collecting retro stuff. Now there's more downstairs, of course, but this is kind of the bulk of the cartridge-based video game collection. And I just love it. This has gone through a lot of changes over the years. And, oh yeah, why don't I turn these lights on? So, okay, so going up here, I've got these posters, which I just love. I got the Ninja Gaiden 2, and then Double Dragon 2, and Golden Axe, and Streets of Rage 2. And then above each one, I've got these lights. Oh, and you know what? That battery went out. Okay, that's okay. What about this one? Are these batteries? Oh, it's been a while since I fired these up, guys. It's time to switch out batteries. Oh, well, there we go. Turn that one on and that one on. So 2 out of 4. Honestly, I've been super impressed with how long those batteries have lasted, because I haven't changed those batteries once in like the 3 years, I think, since I did this little remodel over here. And Cammy, what are you doing? Knock it off. So super impressed with the battery life, and you get the idea there. So I'm gonna switch those batteries out when I'm done filming here. But yeah, so it's a pretty cool little look there. And then this is the Nintendo shelf, and that's the Sega shelf. And then I have this power up light switch for the light in here, and it makes sound effects. And then I actually have one of those over here as well. So I've got 2 of these. A viewer of the channel sent in the second one so that we could have 2 of them, which is really nice. Sammy, thank you, Sammy. Super cool. And then this is the NES shelf, or not the NES shelf, the Nintendo shelf, excuse me. So I've got all the NES games there, and they are in alphabetical order. So I know some of you get triggered if something's not in alphabetical order. And are all my games in alphabetical order? No, but that's because it doesn't make sense to put, like, my Genesis games are not alphabetical, and that's because I don't want them to be alphabetical. So I'm just throwing that out there, because I know you guys, trigger warning if you are super OCD about that kind of thing. But the NES games are. So I've got these little markers that I made, these little ABC tabs. And I basically just threw these together in Photoshop and printed them out on glossy paper. And I think it turned out really well. So it is nice having, especially these NES games, all alphabetical. It just works really well for these cartridges. And I like the way they display on the shelf. And hopefully I'll be collecting some NES games this month, since it is a Toast to the Toaster NES January. And yeah, I don't know how many games I have there. It's a good little chunk, huh? And then, of course, Game Boy, and then Super Nintendo. And now I didn't grow up with the Super Nintendo, but I had a lot of fun during Super Nintendo month a few months back. And I finally played through A Link to the Past. I don't know why it took me so long. Took me, 30 years or whatever to actually get to the game. And I loved it. It is a masterpiece. I actually played through it twice. And yeah, I have a lot of love for the Super Nintendo. And I've got some pretty decent games here. I got Space Mega Force. And I've got, oh God, there are a whole bunch of them there that are pretty awesome. Knights of the Round, all kinds of cool stuff. Breath of Fire. Yeah. And then Nintendo 64 down below that. So it's Nintendo 64, Super Nintendo, Game Boy, and NES on this shelf. And yeah, I still have a little more room for some games. I could always kind of tighten up the Super Nintendo shelf there and make a little more room. But it's getting pretty full. Okay, so moving down here to my favorite thing to collect for by far, which is anything Sega, in particular Sega Genesis. And I guess that takes me to the kind of the overarching collecting goal that I have in this first half of 2023. I would like to collect, along with this month collecting maybe an NES game or two, like kind of quality, not quantity. But with the Genesis, I want to start knocking out. Now I've got quite a few games here, and I've got some heavy hitters. I've got the Complete in Box Musha and the Crusaders Senti and all that stuff, which I'm very proud to have, and it's great to have that stuff. But I want to get all the Genesis games, the 1989 and 1990 games. So Genesis came out in '89. Of course, I had those 6 launch games in the black, and then I had all those early games in the black boxes, Altered Beast, stuff like that, which was the pack-in game. And you got these iconic black box Genesis games. I want to get all the games from 1989 to 1990 complete in box. So I'm going to start plucking away at that. That's kind of my overarching collecting goal. It'd be nice to get that done in the first half of 2023. And then over time, I can start kind of chipping away at the set. I just love Genesis. It's my favorite console of all time. I grew up playing it. I have a lot of passion for it. So I would like to go ahead and go for that set. So it's going to take time. It's not, it's a large endeavor. And I'm going to probably create a shelf that goes along the top edge of the ceiling here so that I have more room for Genesis games. I think that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, of course we got the Sonics, and then over here the Game Gear, the Master System games, like R-Type and Shinobi and stuff, and then Streets of Rage and Golden Axe and Shinobi, and some homebrews. I mean, there's some great stuff like Demons of Asterborg, guys. As far as modern games on the Genesis, that's my favorite. Demons of Asterborg is like sweet. It's really cool. Oh, and Xenocrisis too. Xenocrisis and Demons of Asterborg. I highly recommend both of those. Metal Dragon is awesome. Yeah, Coffee Crisis was alright. I don't know if I would recommend that or not. Tanglewood was beautiful. And then Alien Storm and, all these classics. I mean, Toe Jam and Earl and Decapitate. This is my favorite stuff, guys. 16-bit Sega Genesis. These beautiful clamshell boxes. I mean, as far as collecting, this is my, happy place. And then down here, 32X down at the bottom there. Now I have a complete North American set, 32X games. So, the Web of Fire and the Deion Sanders and the Blackthorn and all that stuff and all those Sega CD 32X games. And then, of course, we've got Dreamcast down there. Now, that's not all the Dreamcast games. I have them over on the wall. I'll show you in a second. So, I've told the story 1,000 times, but as a teenager, I loved the Dreamcast. I grew up with Sega, and 1999, I waited in a big line, picked up the Dreamcast on launch day, still have that console, and these are all my original games that I got when the Sega Dreamcast was new. And of course, as a teenager, I just chucked all that packaging and put them in a binder. Now, luckily, I kept all the discs, so that's good. And I still have them all, and I wanted to display them, so I created this little wall display here, and actually, I think it turned out really well. So I don't have the packaging or manuals, but that's okay. I have all my original games here. And then I have this little sign up here. But I've got some great stuff. I've got the Shenmues and the Skies of Arcadia and the Grandias and the Resident Evils, Dino Crisis and Power Stones and all the good stuff that you want for that Sega Dreamcast. All that I got back in the day. And I still love playing to this day. Now, I have been collecting some of these games complete in box when I come across a deal for them. So slowly I'm chipping away at getting that packaging back. And then at the end of the hallway here, guys, I've got this timeline of video games, basically. So it's the history of gaming here. And it's kind of just from the beginning to current day. So that's kind of a cool little graphic there. And then this is kind of my makeshift little spot for some recent consoles that I picked up. I mean, fairly recent, which is the TurboGrafx 16 and 3DO. Cammy, what are you doing there? Don't pay attention to the kitty. And yeah, so, you know, I don't have a lot of games. Now, the 3DO games, I actually have the complete in box ones you saw earlier. But some of them that are just like the jewel case only, I have there. And then I've got my TurboGrafx stuff there as well. And hopefully, eventually, those collections will grow because they're super cool. And I love both of those consoles. The TurboGrafx 16, I can't wait to revisit that and play some TurboGrafx and explore that library in more detail. And then, let's see, what have I missed? We got another little painting up here. It's a Wyland. And then, oh yeah, and the vinyl setup. So I wanted to create like a, you know, this is the retro room, so I didn't want like a modern stereo up here. So I purposely went out and sought out retro stuff at Goodwill. So I've got my Retro Technics turntable that I put a new stylus needle on. And then I've got my retro CD player and receiver. The receiver is a Scott, CD player is a Denon. And then I've got these really cool, I think late 80s Bose bookshelf speakers that sound great. I had some really large speakers in here before that didn't sound nearly as good as these Bose bookshelf speakers. So I think that was kind of a time when Bose was really pumping out. I mean, they still do, but I feel like the speakers back in the late 80s from Bose were pretty sweet. And then I've got all my vinyl. Now I pared this down a little bit because I'm running out of room. So I kind of just went through and stuff that I was never going to listen to that just was, you know, I got in bulk at garage sales or stuff. I actually thinned out the collection a little bit. So for the most part, this is like really cool stuff. I mean, I've got like first pressings of Pink Floyd. I've got lots of like blues and classic rock and some hip hop and some classical and some kind of 80s like stuff like Michael Jackson and some hair metal and all, just a good mix of different vinyl records. And I didn't pay, there's not one record in here that I paid more than probably $2 for. I mean, I just pick these up when I see them at garage sales or at Goodwill, and it's just kind of a slow accumulation of vinyl. And yeah, it's fun to throw on a record up here and sit down in the Papasan chair and just kind of have those old school retro vibes. And, you know, this is the place to do it. Guys, I think that's everything up here. So that's the upstairs game room. Hope you enjoyed that. But now it's time to go downstairs to the modern space, the Dragon's Lair. All right, and just like that, we're downstairs in the Dragon's Lair. Okay, so this is my more modern gaming space, although I do have a bunch of retro stuff down here as well. But a lot of my like disc-based games and my like Switch and stuff like that, my PC setup is all down here. So let's see, where should we start? Okay, let's start over here with the MVS Neo Geo Cab Big Red. Now, this does work 100%, but I don't have the CRT on at the moment because it does make a little bit of a coil whine, and I know that can be annoying on the videos. So, yeah, the Neo Geo MVS 2-slot arcade cabinet, Big Red. I love it. I picked this up outside of Portland. Oh, gosh, it's been a while now. I forget how many years ago. But Leaf and I, we made a video about it. We went down there. And we got a pretty decent deal on it. And this thing is heavy. I tell you what, I know you guys that are used to lifting arcade cabinets and hauling them around, you know. But yeah, we got it in here, and this is where it lives in this little corner. And right now, let's see, what do we got going on? We got Metal Slug and World Heroes 2 on there. And then I do have a 161 cart that I can use as well. So if I want to play any of the Neo Geo games, I can. And yeah, all the buttons work. The CRT is good. It's got a little tiny bit of burn-in, but it's not bad. It's still totally fine. And then up top, I got the little Game Hunter sign. And this is just like a little aromatherapy thing, so it smells nice in here. And then, let's see, moving down here, we've got the little headphone jacks and the memory card slot. And then we have the coin door and the operator who had this. It was at an arcade outside of Portland, is my understanding. They went ahead and put that lock bar on there. And yeah, I love this thing. It works great. It's a lot of fun. You know, growing up playing games in arcade, I always gravitated towards these Neo Geo arcade cabinets. So having one in the collection that I can play and enjoy is a real treat. So I love it. Okay, moving over here, we've got the giant tower of controllers. This is the Fang tower. You can get these on Etsy, and they're a little bit spendy, but I feel like they're totally worth it. You gotta assemble it yourself and everything, so it's a bit of a process. But what better way to store all your retro controllers than this? So I've got everything, almost one of all the different consoles I have. There's some that I still have in a little cubby down here because I don't have room for quite everything. But it works for everything. It works for Genesis and Super Nintendo, and even Dreamcast fits in there. It's kind of a tight fit, but it fits. PlayStation. There's even a spot for the NES Zapper up top, and there's even a headphone mount on the very top. So super cool. The Fang Tower. I love it, and it's really convenient because I'm always streaming retro games on original hardware. So being able to easily access all my controllers. I mean, sometimes I'll swap out controllers, live on stream. So having them right there to grab and go is really handy. And then I have this on a rotating tower. Now I have two of these rotating towers down here. And I've got my Switch games, and then some of my Wii U stuff. I've got my GameCube stuff, my little silver GameCube console down there, or my Wavebird. And then on the other side is all the Wii stuff. So you turn that around, which I'm not going to do right now because actually there's a bunch of wires and stuff, so it's kind of a pain. But I have all my Wii games on the other side. So a nice way to store a bunch of games easily in a kind of efficient way in a small space. And then I've got, this is like a laser projector down on the floor there. So when I turn that on, it projects like a nebula and a star system on the ceiling. And it's actually super cool. If you turn off the lights, like I like to watch movies down here, and I'll turn off all the lights and put on the star ceiling and then watch a movie on my setup, which I'll show you in a little bit. A tripod, because I'm always filming stuff. And then over here, I've got these blackout curtains to help with, so I don't want the light bleeding in here, and also helps with the sound, the sound absorption. So you don't have echoes, and everything's, like when I'm recording audio, it sounds good. And when I'm playing movies or games, it sounds good as well. And one of my favorite things to collect is aliens. I'm a huge fan of Aliens and Predator. So this is my Aliens versus Predator collection. Put together a little sign. I've got all kinds of stuff, statues and graphic novels and games and movies, and all, comic books, and just all kinds of different, like novelizations and, everything you think of that's aliens or predators I have on the shelf. And lots of cool stuff. I got like the Aliens Genesis game, the Predators Genesis game. There's Predator on NES, and some really cool, like beautiful graphic novels. So a little omnibus action there. And yeah, Aliens. So, and then growing up, of course, I've always been a big fan of Aliens. I had all the action figures from Kenner. So these are the 90s, early 90s Kenner Aliens action figures. And I put those little floating shelves up there. And yeah, I did this year. This is actually a pretty recent addition. So I don't know if I've even shared this on the channel yet. Maybe. But I don't think so. So growing up, I had all those figures you see there. And, I don't know what happened to them. At some point, I sold them or lost them or something. I don't know. And I've always wanted to get them back. So this year, I went ahead and bought all the figures I had as a kid. So I have some up there, and then I've got some down here. So there's Ripley and her power loader with the alien queen. And then I even bought the vehicles that I had. And I actually got those new in box. So I haven't opened those up because they're all new and sealed in there. I've got the evac fighter, the Stinger XT-37, and then like Apone and Hicks there, and another vehicle that I had growing up. And then there's another little alien action figure down there. And that's just a random Nerf gun I have there. But actually, speaking of which, Nerf released a Aliens pulse rifle recently, which I really want to get. It's super cool. So that's my Alien stuff. Now, my favorite item in the Aliens collection, right here. So this is my 8x10 signed Sigourney Weaver as Ripley from Aliens. And there she is signing it, certificate of authenticity and all that stuff. And I had this frame this year and put it right there next to my Aliens collection. Super cool. I love those movies. Sigourney Weaver is awesome. And having that in the collection is very nice. So I like being able to look at that and maybe throw in a, I don't know, Alien in 4K and hang out down here. It's a good time. And then I've got some sound panels on the wall there. And then let's see, down here I've got my iCade. Yep, that's it, iCade. So that before I had my little nook upstairs with all those numbskull quarter arcades, the iCade lived in that little nook. So I brought it down here because it still works, and I still got the iPad in there, and so I have it living right there. And then that's sitting on top of my Pip-Boy Fallout 4 Collector's Edition. And then, of course, this is the Dragon's Lair, so I figured if it's going to be the Dragon's Lair, you got to have a Dragon's Lair arcade cabinet, right? So this is the II Arcade Dragon's Lair arcade cabinet, and this thing is so nice. Compared to like a arcade 1-up, I feel like the quality is just on the next level. I mean, they are pretty expensive, but like the printing and the buttons and the screen and the sound and the functionality of it, it really is nice. I just think it looks super cool down here. So that's my Dragon's Lair II Arcade. And the nice thing about this is it's not just Dragon's Lair. I've got Gunbird, Dragon's Lair, Double Dragon, Fancy World, Dragon Master, Bomb Squad, Diver Boy, and Beach Buggy Racing. These are all the games that came with the console. Now there is a store where you can buy more. I haven't done that just because I have, all the retro games a million different ways, so I don't really need to spend money to have them. I've got that arcade cabinet upstairs too. But, if you want to play a little Dragon's Lair, then this is the way to do it. And then I have this little dragon topper up here. And then along the wall here, I've got LED lighting going all the way around. Right now I have it just pure white because I want to have good lighting down here while I'm recording this video. And then I painted this wall red. This was a long time ago. So this is our YouTube backdrop generally when Leaf and I are hanging out down in the game room. This is generally what you see behind us. So that's why I painted that red. And then put this little Xbox wall display and stuff here, which I'll show in just a second. But to start, and if you hear a little creaking, that's my floor. I'm downstairs and this floor creaks a little bit down here. So that's my Atari sign. That's like a little metal Atari sign, super neat. And then this is one of my favorite items in the collection. This is all the letters that people have sent to Leaf and I over the years. And this thing is like 3 or 4 letters deep. I can't show them all. There's not enough room there, but they're all in there. So if you wrote to us or sent us a package or something like that over the years and we opened it up and then we got mail, we made sure and took all those letters and put them in here on display. And it's really fun checking those out and seeing all the nice things that people have sent over the years. And I love displaying that right there prominently in the game room. And then I've got this Xbox 360 tower here. And I've got some of my Xbox controllers. So there's my Xbox Series X controller. That's a Nintendo Switch Pro controller. My Xbox 360 Star Wars C-3PO controller. And then a wired 360 controller. My Razer headset. And then some of my 360 games here. So, I really like the Xbox 360. It's a lot of fun. As far as like more modern stuff, like disc-based games, Xbox in general, like Xbox 360, Xbox One, in particular OG Xbox, is some of my favorite stuff to collect for. I really enjoy collecting Xbox. And I have a bunch of games. There's some of them. Here's one of the OG Xbox 360s down there. It works like a champ. And then moving over is all the Xbox stuff. Okay, so I've got the wall display with some of my more collectible games. And then I got the bulk of the collection down here. And they're all double deep because I didn't have room for it. So there's quite a few games there. Why don't we start up here? So I've got this Xbox sign that I put up on the wall. Let's see if I can go up there. There we go. And I got Panzer Dragoon and Otage and Cyanide and Shenmue, Silent Hill 4, Obscure, Castlevania, Jurassic Park, Capcom vs. SNK, Morrowind, Digimon, Rumble Arena 2, Stubbs Zombie, Fable, Doom, ToeJam and Earl, and Conquer. And then I've got the Steelbook for Halo 2 on top of this really nice OG Xbox Halo Special Edition, which I found at, where was that? St. Vincent de Paul. I think I paid $20. I was on the hunt there, so there's a video floating out there somewhere when Leaf and I found this. And yeah, it works like a champ and looks super cool. We even got the controllers that came with it, so definitely happy to have that. And then I figured since I have Doom right here, I would put this Doom statue. And yeah, it's a pretty cool Doom statue. This came with the the Doom, the more modern Doom collector's edition. And I have the box out in the garage. A lot of the boxes, I've got stuff all over the place, so a lot of the things are still out in the garage, and boxes and more collectibles and even more games. But yeah, finding room for all this stuff, that can be a challenge sometime. And then here's the bulk of the games. I'm not going to go through everything. I have collection videos for just every single different console. So like if you want to see an OG Xbox collection, there's a whole month dedicated to it, and there's collection videos and all that stuff. But Dino Crisis and The Thing, Cold Fear, and Indiana Jones, and all kinds of cool stuff. And then down below here is a custom Resident Evil arcade stick that I built. And I took the shell of a PS2 arcade stick that was not working, and I gutted it, and I did this custom paint job on it, and that's like, gosh, it was like 6 layers of paint or something. I mean, it was quite a bit, and then a clear coat over that, and then I put that umbrella badge, and I created this custom Resident Evil PlayStation 2 arcade stick, and it works, and it's really cool. I like it quite a bit. At one point, I had a Raspberry Pi in there, and it was on its own dedicated gaming console. But then I used that Raspberry Pi for the arcade cabinet upstairs, so now it's just an arcade stick. But yeah, so that's had a few different iterations over the years, and it's holding up good too. So I think it turned out pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. And then Mafia 3 Collector's Edition sealed. That's got that vinyl record in there. I just haven't had a reason to open it up, so it just sits there. And then I've got a Galaxy's Edge Darth Vader lightsaber here. Let's see, I don't know if this has batteries or not. We're about to find out, huh? So these are actually pretty nice, these Galaxy's Edge lightsabers. Yep, it does. They're heavy. They're made out of metal and rubber. And the only thing about them that could be better is the responsiveness of it. There we go. I feel like could be a little bit better. Like when you wave it around, you really have to kind of wave it around to get it to make its different sound effects. But honestly, like, I think they're pretty nice. I really like it. And especially this Darth Vader one. So that's the Galaxy's Edge Darth Vader lightsaber there. Let's see if we can get that back to where it's standing still. Yeah, okay. And then I've got the doors to, let us in and out of the game room here. And I put some curtains on there. So when we're filming videos or when I'm streaming, there's a little privacy. I even have a little thing on the door that you can slide. So it's like if I'm live, I can slide, say, do not disturb. And then I put a lock on here just because the cats and dogs like to bust in here. And especially the cats. I don't really want the cats in here because they tend to get into stuff and, the collectibles and things like that and knock things over. So the lock on the door is for the cats, really. And then I have a little sign that says on air. I just put that there for fun since I'm always live streaming down here. And then Tomb Raider, I got my Tomb Raider poster up on the wall there. I got some more of those sound panels. And then I've got kind of all my like retro PlayStation stuff here in this little corner. I really like this corner. So I got another one of those rotating shelves. I got this little kind of holographic PlayStation sign. I got that off of Amazon. It lights up, and it looks like, when it's all lit up, it looks like it's kind of floating there. And on this side, I have all the PS1 games. And yeah, I love collecting for PS1. I mean, what a great console. I think of the kind of greatest console of all time, and PS1 has to be in that conversation. But I got all kinds of cool stuff. Lots of RPGs and survival horror and, all kinds of good stuff. There's a custom PlayStation 1, the actual PS1 that I custom painted there with the Umbrella logo on it. And then this one's a little bit easier to turn around. The other one's kind of tangled up in cords, but I might be able to turn this one around for you so you guys can get the full effect here. On the other side, I try to go kind of a little bit slow. Oh, looks like my little statue fell. Okay, here we go. So you're going along on the journey, guys. I'm not editing this out. There we go. My little Assassin's Creed statue fell over. He was blocking the way. Okay. So you just turn this around, and then boom. We went from PlayStation 1 to PlayStation 2. Look, I'm running out of room on the PlayStation 2 shelf. Now, this is normally where this guy lives. So we're going to go ahead and put him right there. Maybe. I'm doing this one-handed, as usual. And is that gonna... no? Oh my god, his hand fell off. No! Okay, there we go. Good enough for now, huh? So, that's where the PlayStation 2 games live. And, yeah, if I'm gonna keep collecting PlayStation 2, I might have to figure out something else, because... look at that. I might be able to fit like 10 more games there. I could fit like 4 or 5 more games where the little statue is, and then I could fit some games down there on that bottom shelf. But that's about it. But I love the PlayStation 2. One of the best libraries as far as like in the retro gaming world. PlayStation 2, I mean, it's just like banger after banger. So many good titles. And it doesn't matter what kind of game you like to play. If you like RPGs, check. You like fighters, check. You like platformers, check. I mean, everything. Survival horror, oh yeah. So yeah, I love PlayStation 2. And then PlayStation 3 lives right here. So I got my PlayStation 3 that I picked up back in the day. I didn't get a PlayStation 3 at launch, but that is my original PS3 from, I don't know, it took me a couple years, I think, to get one. But I finally got one. I forget what year that was. And I really like the PS3. And then I have these little wall mounts for the controllers there. And then I have all the games in this Resident Evil storage locker that I did. This was another project. I'm always doing different projects on the game room. Oh, and who's coming in? Hello? Is that you, Miguel? Yes, it is. Come on in. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's why I have the lock on the door. Now, Miguel, he's all right because he doesn't get into the stuff. But the cats, they tend to knock things over and get into, like, they go into the arcade cabinet and stuff like that. I don't want that. So I was doing, like, DIY projects on the channel. And this is one that I did. I did this storage locker. I got it at Goodwill. It was inexpensive. And I gave it a custom paint job. And I did this badging on it. And then if you open this up, I'm actually going to have to move. This is my green screen right here. This is a Elgato green screen. I'm just going to move this right here. And then we're going to come over here. And thank you for opening that up for us, Miguel. That was very thoughtful of you. Yep. And I have this little custom like clearance badge here. So, you know, the little theming. But this is where the PS3 games live. And yeah, another great console. Lots of, you know, I mean, The Last of Us and The God of the War and Twisted Metal and Blur and Wet and Far Cries and Folklores and, you know, all the cool stuff. I mean, Borderlands got its start on the PS3. One of my faves. Uncharted, of course. So yeah, that's the PS3 stuff. And it fits all nice. And those are all double deep too, by the way. So, you know, double whatever you see there is how many PS3 games. I'm running out of room for PS3 as well. Okay, Miguel, what do you think? Yeah, you're just stealing the show now again, huh? You did that upstairs and here you are again, yeah? You're just a diva. And then coming over here, I've got, now this a little blurry. Okay, there we go. My entertainment center. And let's see, what are some... okay, so I got my Nintendo Switch OLED. I'm going to start to the left and work my way right there. I've got a little handheld emulation device I picked up on Amazon. I got an 8-bit DOE controller, Nintendo Switch Pro controller. I keep all my Switch games in this little guy. So, like, if I'm traveling with my Switch, I just... boom. Look at that. What a thing of beauty, huh? Look at all those games. And you wouldn't want to lose this, huh? That would suck. But I really like that. You can get these on Amazon. They have a bunch of different designs, too. I just really like this one. So that's where I keep all my Switch games. And then, let's see. I'll get that there later. Okay. And then I've got this little cubby. And this is full of controllers and peripherals, light guns, fishing controllers, stuff like that. And then I got my Pip-Boy there, my 4K Blu-ray player, because I like to hang out down here and watch 4K movies. And then I've got the Fallout Collector's edition for the PC with the little the mini nuke there, and that makes sound effects and stuff. And I got my little Fallout shrine right here. It's a little dusty in there, but I've got the caps and the bobbleheads and stuff. And then I've got my Xbox Series X, and this is where my Raspberry Pi lives in here, and that's so that I can have games on the big 4K television. And I got Altered Beast on there right now, one of my favorites. I know this game's a little divisive on the Sega Genesis, but I think it's awesome. Is it the best game on the Sega Genesis? No, of course not. But is it fun? Oh yeah, I think so. I think it's super fun. And then now this is where like a lot of the consoles I have. Now this is quite the setup, guys. I have everything here, including the CRT, set up in a certain way so that I can stream all original hardware from a CRT television, the best quality possible on Twitch, because I wanted it to be the whole idea is it's like the most authentic retro gaming experience possible I wanted to create. And so every console you see here is hooked up to the CRT television. I've got a bunch of switchers and stuff. So I've got and they're all hooked up the best way possible. So I've got Dreamcast, Wii, PlayStation, Nintendo 64, OG Xbox. I've got my PS5. That's not hooked up to the CRT. The PS5 is hooked up to my 4K television. But I have that wall mounted there. And then I have the controllers, or the one controller wall mounted and the headset wall mounted above the subwoofer here. And then I've also got the Model 1 Genesis, the PlayStation 2, the TurboGrafx 16, the Xbox 360, and then and the PS3, all hooked up to this CRT. And then I can easily swap out for NES, 3DO, Sega Master System, Atari 2600, whatever I want. So no matter what I'm playing, I can play on the CRT, stream that feed directly to Twitch in the best possible quality. And as I said, it's a convoluted setup, but I feel like I did a pretty good job of for how many consoles I have hooked up. I try to make sure the cable management is all taken care of and stuff, so you don't see a lot of cables. There's a few little cables poking out at the moment just because I haven't actually taken the time to come down here and tidy things up for this video. But there, I could do a little bit of management right there. There's a cable poking out through there, but for the most part, it's all fully cable managed. And if I spent another 15 minutes down here, you wouldn't be able to see any of those cables. And this CRT is a Sony Trinitron, and it works like a champ. It's a great TV. It really is. I feel like when I picked this up, I got it at Goodwill, and it was dirt cheap. I think it was like $5-10. This is before people were going crazy over CRTs. And when I got it, I don't think it had any use hardly at all, because it's got a bright, clean picture, and it doesn't have any burn-in. I really try to baby it, just because it's kind of a precious item at this point. Finding a good Trinitron with such a good picture, it's one of my favorite possessions down here in the game room. And then I've got that Wii sign up top, and I've got my PS5 games on the wall there. And then I've got a really cool King of Fighters poster that somebody sent to the channel years ago. I've got some of the Mandalorian little mini Funkos. And then I had those leftover, some of those bricks from upstairs that I used for the pinball machine, behind the pinball machine and behind the arcade cabinet. And I just spray painted them stone to match the stone entertainment center that I spray painted. I thought that was kind of a nice little touch, so I have that on the wall, kind of just for aesthetics, but also sound deadening. I want the audio to be pretty good down here. And then let's see, why don't we go ahead and get up off the ground here, and I can show off the Tomb Raider shrine. So longtime viewers of the channel, let's go up. Okay. Longtime viewers of the channel know that we used to have a Tomb Raider shrine in the corner over here. This room has changed a lot over the years. And for a little while, the Tomb Raider shrine was living in boxes. And I was trying to figure out, okay, we need to bring back the Tomb Raider shrine. And this is what I came up with. I'm really happy with it. I think it looks better than ever. I've got those kind of rustic pipes attached to the wall. And then I put the ivy on there. I kind of wanted it to have an aesthetic of old tomb. It is Tomb Raider, so that was the idea. So that's why I did the ivy and the stone behind the shelves there. And then I put all the Tomb Raider stuff. And, I got the games and the statues and the action figures. And there's Tomb Raider for the Saturn. All kinds of fun stuff. I love Tomb Raider, so having a little shrine to Tomb Raider is super cool. And then I have the PS5 camera there. And then over here, I've got my chair, my kind of theater chair. And I like to just sit here in this theater chair, grab a controller for the PS5, or play some retro games, watch a 4K movie, whatever it is. Turn down the lights, and get that full kind of cinematic big screen experience. And even playing something like Altered Beast on this big 4K TV. I mean, it's pretty nice. Now, nothing beats OG hardware and a CRT television, but if you just want to sit back and relax and be comfortable, and maybe cheat a little with some save states, this is the way to do it, I suppose. But generally I play old stuff on the CRT. And then, okay, moving over here, this is my PC setup. And let's see, let's get the screensavers back. Move the mouse. All right, so of course got Leaf and I, a little Game Hunters wallpaper. So this is basically my setup for content creation and for streaming. So it's all very specifically tailored to the use case that I need it for. And I probably won't go into every little detail, but I've got it set up so I can basically, when Leaf and I are sitting here, we've got our main camera, the Brio there, the 4K webcam from Logitech. That's pointed at us. We got multiple monitors so we can kind of see everything. We can have, if we're streaming games, or if we're doing an eBay stream or something, we can have multiple monitors so we can kind of run everything and see what's going on. I even have a top monitor up here. I just use this for screensavers and stuff. And right now I just have this little animated dragon screensaver going, because it is the Dragon's Lair. And I have RGB lighting behind everything. I've got a curved monitor for the main monitor there. I've got an Alienware laptop with a 3070 GPU as kind of I'm running everything. And then I've got it all set up for streaming. So basically what I do when I'm streaming is I'll start the streams here, talking to the people and my friends that were hanging out, we're talking. And then when I go to play games on the CRT, I swivel the chair over here to the CRT, and then I use this camera right here and this tablet so I can read chat. So now I can still read chat, I can still interact with everybody, the microphone still will pick me up great, and now I'm playing on the CRT. So I can swivel between the two really easy. So yeah, it took a lot of kind of dialing in to get the way I just wanted, but I'm really happy with it now. And then I've got some lighting as well there. Little, simple LED lighting. And a router, and I've got my complete in box Dreamcast Seaman there, and it's kind of an inside joke, so some of you will get that. And then I've got a guitar hanging up on the wall, and right now I'm about to play these later tonight, so I've got the Donkey Kong games on the NES busted out. So I got Donkey Kong Jr., and Donkey Kong 3. That's what I'm playing tonight, so looking forward to that. I'll be playing those on the CRT over here, so that's going to be fun, because it is this month is NES month, as I already said. It's a toast to the toaster. I already gave you guys that spiel, didn't I? And then, guys, whoa, is that it? I think that's it, huh? Yeah, did I miss anything, Miguel? What do you think? I got this big shag rug. That's about it. No, he's like, no, that's it. All right, guys, that is the annual full upstairs and downstairs game room tour. Another year. And who knows what 2023 will bring. I'm looking forward to it. I have lots of ideas for projects. I think this is going to be a good year for the channel, with lots of creative endeavors, and I'm looking forward to it. So I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. I'm posting new videos every Wednesday at 7 p.m. You can count on that. And then, of course, follow me over on Twitch at COE33. I'm live every Tuesday and Thursday with all retro games and original hardware. And then there's the community Discord, the Dragon's Lair, that's fitting, I know, where you can follow Leaf and I when we're not posting videos on YouTube. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, bye.